Hi guys, and welcome to another haul. This one is all about thrillers. Now these will probably more than likely have other sub-genres, but for the email that I got, because these were all free on Amazon, the email that I got states that they had these all listed under thrillers. So I don't, and I love thrillers, and so no questions asked, I went ahead and got them. So I don't know what these are about or anything like that. So we're gonna go ahead and find out this all together now. Some of these, when loading these up on my tab, on the various tabs on my computer here, the synopsis, some of the synopsises are not on Goodreads, so I will switch over to Amazon for those synopsis, but I'll obviously let you know, as I've done in previous videos, in cases like that. Let's go ahead and just delve right on in. So the first one I'm going to talk about is The House of Hidden Secrets. This is written by C.E. Rose, and let's see. This one has 399 ratings with an average of 3.92. So this one says, the imposing gates of Ramsey Hall yawned opened as Serena, a 4-year-old Lana walked up. Oh, as Serena and 4-year-old Lana walked up the long driveway, little did they know the dark secrets that lay within. When Serena Green accepted the role of housekeeper for wealthy widower Hayden Ramsey, she never imagined her new home would be Ramsey Hall, an ancient sprawling mansion in northern England. Serena quickly becomes an integral part of the household, making friends with Hayden's younger son Hugh, despite Jack, his older brother's coldness towards her and Lana. But the hall's beautiful exterior hides many ugly secrets. Though Serena and Jack begin to grow closer, she's confused by his behavior around Lana. Let's see, what is he guilty of? And is there more to their mother's death than the Ramsey men will admit even to themselves? As the harrowing past of Ramsey Hall unravels, Serena's fresh start becomes a fresh horror. She fears for her and Lana's safety, but what are the bleak secrets in Serena's own past? This house is built on a lifetime of lies, and the truth might just bring the walls crashing down. It also has this one listed as a psychological thriller and gothic, so if you like gothic thrillers, you might like this one. So, okay. Up next is The Book Swap, written by J.E. Rowney. 663 ratings with an average of 1.83. So obviously this is a book about books right off, so if you like that, then you might like this one. Newly separated Laura is back home living with her mum. She spends her days reading and escaping from the realities of her new life alone, until that life suddenly becomes more complicated than she could ever have imagined. When a novel received from an online book swap contains a chilling note, Laura has to overcome her own fears to help a stranger. First, she must uncover exactly who it is that needs to be saved and from what. Now that sounds interesting. That would be a little creepy to get a book from something and it has a like please help note in it. That would be very unsettling. So, okay, so next I have Forest, written by Peter Stevens. This one says, it started with a high school love affair. Rachel, wooed by a drug lord and married into murder and crime. Alex, a National Crime Authority agent, locked into a love that can't be denied. When Alex returns to Milltown, Nanguri, he is devastated to find his first love humiliated, beaten, and raped. So there's obviously trigger there. I don't know how explicit it's going to get or detailed it's going to get with the rapes, or the rape. So just something to keep in mind with this book. Continuing on, it says, the sole catalyst in a war on drugs that could change a nation, Alex throws himself into a conflict that threatens a cartel, and events spin disastrously out of control. Can he rescue Rachel without destroying them both? As the bruises heal, can Rachel rediscover her identity, self-esteem, and courage? Inspired by real Australian events comes... Okay. So it's inspired by real events. So definitely something to keep in mind with that. 8 ratings, an average of 4.5. So not much information to go on there. Okay, next I have Nothing to Lose, written by Thomas Waugh, I'm guessing? Waugh? I don't know. See, now this is interesting. This one, the tag on this is mystery. But either I wrote it wrong and it's a mystery, or this, is supposed to be a thriller. I don't know. Wouldn't surprise me if I screwed up. Let's go ahead and just keep going on with this one. It says, killing comes easy to Michael Devlin, a soldier turned assassin. When he murders Martin Pound, a corrupt politician, he considers it to be just another job. His days are spent drinking, reading, and visiting his late wife's grave. Devlin has nothing to live for. Then he meets Emma, a good Catholic girl. Everyone deserves a second chance. But the hunter is about to become the hunted. The Parker brothers, the criminal family who put the hit out on the politician, want to tie up loose ends. Devlin must kill or be killed. Okay, it does say that this is a literary thriller, even though it's tagged as mystery. There is a note here saying it is a literary thriller set in South London. Let's see what else. Let's see. He's created a hero or anti-hero who will seem human to some readers and inhuman to others. You decide. Now this one, the one I'm looking at says it's a paperback. Obviously I have the ebook version and it's 94 pages for the paperback. So this is going to be definitely be a novella. Now this is part of a series called the Michael Devlin Thriller. This particular one, when I got on Amazon, came with the first 3 books in the series. Book numbers 2, and the covers pretty much look almost identical. I mean, there's obviously going to be slight variations with what I'm seeing on my list here. Book number 2 is called Darkness Visible, and then number 3 is called Ready for Anything. And it looks like that's all that's in the series, at least thus far. Book number 3, I want to see when that one came out. February of 2018. So, and looks like these are all short stories because book number 3 is 101 pages. So, anyway, okay. So moving on, I have Singapore 52, written by Murray Bailey. This is book number 1 in the Ash Carter series with 205 ratings, an average of 3.95. This one says, Chinese New Year 1952. Ash Carter had to leave the Middle East in a hurry, but when he arrives in Singapore, he finds himself in the middle of a much bigger problem. No one knows where or when or who, but someone is planning an attack. Carter is told to make sure it doesn't happen. With pressure from politicians and the army, and with Chinese secret societies watching his every move, he has other plans. He is more interested in finding out who killed his friend. So, there we go. I'm not quite sure on some of these synopsises. They're not kind of pulling me in, but I love thrillers, and so I'm hoping that the inside of the book sounds better than the synopsis so far. I'm definitely on that last one that I just read. Okay, so next up I have Kill Switch, written by Steve N. Lee. This is book number 1 in the Angels of Darkness series. This has 658 ratings with an average of 3.85. A deadly gang, a kidnapped woman. An edge-of-your-seat rescue mission. It does say Reacher fans should enjoy this. So I'm not quite sure what Reacher is. Obviously that's something I could look into if I like this. Maybe I'll like Reacher. I don't know if that's the author, the name of the series, or a book. I don't know. Okay, Tess Williams. Thought I saw a spider, sorry. Tess Williams has seen a lot of dead bodies. Not surprising. She's responsible for most of them being in that state. However, Tess isn't just a killer, but a rogue assassin with a passion for meting out justice to those who harm others. Murderers, rapists, gangbangers, pimps. So when a young woman is abducted in Krakow, Poland, Tess dives into the city's sleazy underworld to save her. And that's when bodies start piling up. Tess finds out the hard way that she's taken on way more than just some local street thugs and plunges into a life or death struggle to rescue the woman. But she has only 24 hours to do it, and the clock is ticking. Outgunned, outnumbered, and out of options, Tess is about to discover that victory sometimes comes at a price too terrifying to pay. So, okay. I do admit, I've read one other book, and the name of it is escaping me, but it was by Hutchinson. And it was another one of those where it's like a vigilante, where they like doling out justice and basically payback to people that hurt other people. I'm finding I really liked that, and so I'm hoping I'll like that one. Okay, so this next book is called The Hartford Homestead, written by Marie Wilkens. This has absolutely no ratings, so I can't tell you anything about this. Other than it says it was published December 14th of 2022. That is all that it tells me on Goodreads. So switching over to my Amazon tabs, this one says... Okay, so it looks like this is a series. It is book number 41 out of 46 in the EMP, like Edward, Mike, Mary, Paul. I don't know. Survival in a Powerless World. And I think you can read them all as a standalone, especially where when I originally bought it or downloaded it, it didn't give me information when I looked it up on Goodreads as far as that, but Goodreads doesn't give me any information. So I'm hoping if you've read The Hartford Homestead, definitely let me know if this is something that can be read as a standalone. I'm pretty sure. I'm guessing, but we'll see. It says, Tasha Devers has dedicated her life to helping people prepare for the world's disasters, but when an EMP strike shuts down the country's power grid, she'll face her deadliest crisis on an unimaginable scale. With New York City in chaos, Tasha must brave the road to reach her grandfather's homestead in Kentucky before the EMP claims her life. Emergency medical personnel, I think, EMP? I don't know. Okay, so next on my list is The Rome Assignment, written by Eli Evron. This has 8 ratings with an average of 4.25. I'm back on Goodreads, by the way. So this one says, a veteran Mossad spy master faces the fallout of vengeance from every direction as multiple strands of history and espionage converge in the most realistically grounded intelligence novel in recent years. With his marriage in the tank and his last promotion torpedoed by internal politics, Mossad Rome Station Chief Ben Gal wants nothing more than to relish the swan song of his career. But when an Iranian informant surprisingly falls into his lap, Ben is drawn into a cunning game of chess between 2 Middle Eastern nuclear powers. The son of a Holocaust survivor, Ben uses every trick of the trade to try and outsmart his adversaries. As his mission unfolds, critical information comes to light concerning a notorious Nazi war criminal 70 years on the run, and an international ring of art thieves, and a ticking time bomb in the heart of a major European city. Set against the backdrop of the Iranian nuclear crisis, it sets its part with layered, grounded portrayal, real-life espionage, etc. Okay. That one does sound a bit intriguing. I'll admit, that one does sound pretty good. Okay. Next, I have The Serial Thief. It says it's a gripping psychological suspense, written by Barbara Bays. This one has 87 ratings with an average of 4.08. No synopsis on Goodreads, so switching over to what I have loaded here on Amazon. This one says, there's no statute of limitations on revenge. Beautiful and seductive, Greta lives for adventure. A free spirit, she writes her own rules in life, taking those closest to her along for the thrilling ride. Unfortunately, she also has a penchant for taking other women's husbands, even if those women happen to be her best friends. Naughty, naughty. 50 years later, when Margot finds herself sharing a room with Greta, the woman who ruined her life and the lives of her good friends, hatred is rekindled and she is forced to relive her painful past. So, doesn't give me much to go on there. Okay, moving on, I have Bad Faith. This is a Harper Ross legal thriller, so this tells me it is part of a series. Written by Rachel Sinclair. You know, this only has 1 rating on a Goodreads, and it was a 5-star rating. So let's switch over to Amazon. This one has, looks like 4-star average rating with 176 on Amazon. I'm blanking. And I'm seeing 1 word, if you want to read more books with transgender rep in it somehow. I do see the word transgender, so there is that for you. I don't know how many are in the series. It just says it's book 1, so at least it's book 1. Let me scroll down. It doesn't tell me how many are in the series, so okay. A transgendered youth accused of a brutal murder, an attorney on the brink of self-destruction. Attorney Harper Ross is at the end of her rope. Her former client, John Robinson, who she walked on a technicality, went on to kill again. John's second victim was a young, vibrant mother of 2. After suffering with the devastating guilt about the evil that she unleashed back onto the street, Harper retreats to her old haunt, a bar called Charlie Hooper's, as she confronts her old demons. Before she has a chance to completely drown her sorrows, Harper is called to defend Heather Morrison, a transgendered youth who is accused of killing her mother in cold blood. Heather insists that it was self-defense. Harper has her doubts. As Harper gets further into investigation of the case, she discovers an evil beyond anything that she knew was possible. Her investigation of a church leads her to a reverend who preaches hatred from the pulpit and possibly more. Harper gets closer to the truth, yet farther away from proving anything in a court of law. Her case seems to be sinking and nothing can possibly save it. So, yeah, so there's that one. That actually sounds pretty good. Next up, I have Relentless, written by Mike McCrary, I'm guessing. 522 ratings with an average of 4.08. Okay. He had the time of his life. Then it turned into a nightmare. Davis Briggs is a kind-hearted family man who dreams of building a better life for his wife and 2 beautiful daughters. With his family's future at stake, Davis travels to LA to promote a new business. While he tries to unwind at the hotel bar, a slick, charming stranger asks Davis one simple question: "Are you ready to have the time of your life?" Davis wakes up the next morning with no memory of what happened the night before. Now, caught in the stranger's web, Davis is trapped in a race against time. If he succeeds, he stands to gain everything. If he fails, he will lose it all. It will take all Davis has to break free, even if it means doing the unthinkable. So, again, not much to go on. Which thrillers, that's a good thing, because you don't want the synopsis to spoil stuff, so. Next up, I have Last Scene. This is book number 1 in the Detective Bernadette Noel series. Detective Bernadette Noel, written by Joy Kluver. This one has 1,205 ratings with an average of 4.31, so pretty good. I can see her shouting with laughter as she swings as high as she can, her beautiful blonde curls flying out behind her. I can see her tiny hot hand in mine and my heart aches. My little girl. If only I'd listened to my gut, then maybe she'd be safe here with me. When 5-year-old Molly Reynolds is snatched from the park in the small village of Otterfield, Detective Bernie Noel throws herself into the search, sick with worry for the quiet, sensitive little girl and her distraught mother. Wasting no time, Bernie finds a small green cardigan under a bush in the park. It still has a smiley face sticker Molly won that week at school. It's the first in a chain of clues, and Bernie can't shake the feeling that it was left deliberately as a message. But Bernie encounters a wall of silence. Otterfield is a close-knit community, yet no one in the village seems to care that Molly is missing at all. Why? That's a good question. And then Bernie makes a chilling discovery. 25 years ago, another little girl went missing from the area. Her name was Sophie, and all they ever found of her was her teddy bear hidden under a bush. Now Bernie knows she's in a race against time to save Molly's life. Bernie's team work around the clock to find a connection between the two girls, and just when they think they're making progress, a devastating tragedy strikes at the heart of the case. Molly's family have been hiding a secret, and now her little girl is in greater danger than ever. Can Bernie outwit the most warped criminal she has ever faced and bring Molly home safe, or will another innocent life be lost? So obviously, major trigger, if you cannot stand to read books about child abduction, definitely maybe want to avoid that one. Okay, next I have Shut the Lights by Smita Bhattacharya. I know I said that wrong, sorry. 129 ratings with an average of 3.89. This one says, a dark and unpredictable tale of family secrets, and the length we go to save the ones we love. For this family, the lockdown came as a blessing. On March 24th, 2020, with merely a 4-hour notice, the Indian government declared a 3-week lockdown as a containment measure for COVID-19. In terms of scale and severity, this lockdown was unparalleled worldwide. However, quite unexpectedly for a family of 4, cooped up in a plush Mumbai apartment, it came as a blessing. On the face of it, Suvini, Mridul, Damien, and Tara belonged to an upper middle class family with its typical privileges and pressures, but inwardly each of them held a dark secret that threatened to derail their very existence, and the shutting down of everything had given them the unique opportunity to get away with it, or not. And it does say this is inspired by actual events, so that will be interesting. I might want to look more into that once I've read that, to see if there's stuff on the actual events. Okay, moving on, I have Ghosts of Guatemala, written by Colin Glavac. This is book number 1 in the John Carpenter series. This has 455 ratings with an average of 4.13. Who can you trust when corruption and danger are a way of life? The CIA never left Latin America and is facing catastrophic blackmail at the hands of an erratic Guatemalan drug lord, the infamous patron of Antigua, Pablo Puentes. Desperate for a swift solution, the agency calls in their black operative fixer, John Carpenter. John is a cold-blooded professional ready for the job. But the mission doesn't have a simple fix. Pablo has a disastrous kill switch in place. John is still hunted by the mysterious death of his best friend who died on a far too similar mission, and now is uncertain about how much he can trust his handler or his sensual partner. Back at the agency, tensions are running hot as the stench of corruption is growing to a boiling point. If things aren't put to rights, and soon, the entire mission will go up in flames and take the CIA down with it. Only John Carpenter can bring this drug lord to justice and get the answers he deserves, because this mission is personal. So that actually does sound pretty good there too. Next is called Windfall. This was written by Colin Dodds. This one has 238 ratings with an average of 3.41. This one, I do see a tag for paranormal on this, and that intrigues me even more because I love the paranormal stuff in books. So, to all appearances, Seth Tatton is a Seth is a middle of the pack attorney, just keeping his head above water. But he has a side job, killing people for shadowy cabal of politicians. billionaires, and military leaders, whatever the heck that means. Okay. With each assignment, he learns more about their plot and their aims, and he grows more intrigued. Even in his secret life, things are not what they seem, because there's something inside of Seth, and it has big plans for him. Plans that it and others like it have nursed for centuries. But when Seth is assigned to watch a troubled young woman, all of those plans fall into question. Doesn't give me much to go off of on that. So I don't know what to think. But the paranormal tag has me. Okay. All right. Sunday Night Fears. This is book number 1 in the Sam Halloran series, written by Tom Golden. This has 51 ratings with an average of 4.2. And let's see. Sam is ambitious, a little bit desperate, and newly minted auditor. He's got a family to support, and everything hinges on this job. But when he gets assigned to his first public company audit, he's unstoppable. In fact, he sees something no one else did. Fraud. Big-time fraud. That's when the walls start to close in. Suddenly, average Joe Sam becomes modern-day David, up against an unforeseen giant that could crush him in an instant. He'll remind you a lot of Mitch McCrary in John Grisham's, pioneering legal thriller The Firm. A guy in so deep, so suddenly, he hasn't yet checked the exit, and now it's too late to run. Sam sees he's one of an army of young, far from savvy auditors, paid to keep their heads down and not get too curious. And, as he quickly learns, none of them, including himself, are trained to uncover fraud. But the enormous fraud he thinks he's discovered just can't be overlooked. Unfortunately, the company is on to him. They'll do anything to stop him, even weaponize their own employees. First, they try misdirection, then seduction, followed by blackmail. If that goes awry, who knows what's next? Okay, and then it starts continuing to compare this to John Grisham, so we'll just leave it at that. Okay, so this next one on the list is called Winter Falls, written by Ian W. Sainsubry. This one has 1,317 ratings with an average of 4.38. This one says, they murdered his parents, shot him in the head, and left him to die. They should have made sure. 20 years after Tom Lewis watched his parents die, those responsible are being killed, one by one. Gentle, brain-damaged Tom, a giant of a man who can barely speak, can't be responsible for their deaths, can he? But when Tom Lewis was shot, something new was created, something unique, something deadly, something patient enough to plan revenge for 20 long years. Meet Jimmy Blue. So, there you go. We'll see how that one plays out. Next up, I have Girl Without a Chance, written by Rylie Dark. On Goodreads, this one has 155 ratings with an average of 4.1. There is no synopsis for this on Goodreads, so switching to Amazon. This one has about a 4-star rating with 214 ratings on Amazon. So this is, let's see. A woman escapes from the clutches of a serial killer in a small mountain town, and Deputy Sheriff Tara Strong must race to decode the incoherent victim's report and save the next one before it's too late. But in a shocking twist, Tara realizes she is up against a killer more diabolic than she could imagine, and that, with her own life at stake, some of the town's secrets are best left buried. Okay, let's see. Then it's how great this book is. Tara Strong has risen to become her county's deputy sheriff through her bravery and her brilliant capacity to enter killers' minds. Small town life in the mountains, centered around their picturesque lake, should be idyllic. But Tara has already seen enough to know that there is a dark side to everything, and small towns hide secrets, that everyone has something in their past, and that a killer may just be lurking right next door. Tara remains haunted by her own past, by her missing sister, by her guilt over the unsolved case. She must battle the demons of her own past while trying to go ahead in a male-dominated police force. Can Tara keep it together long enough to catch a killer? And it says it's a cat and mouse thriller. And that's pretty much it. Okay. let's go ahead and move on to this next book called Her Last Wish. This is book number 1 in the Rachel Gift FBI series, written by Blake Pierce. This one has 3,107 ratings with an average of 4.14. This one says, let's see, okay. FBI agent Rachel Gift, 33, unparalleled for her ability to enter the minds of serial killers, is a rising star in the behavioral crimes unit. Until a routine doctor visit reveals she has but a few months left to live. Not wishing to burden others with her pain, Rachel decides, agonizing as it is, not to tell anyone, not even her boss, her partner, her husband, or her 7-year-old daughter. She wants to go down fighting and to take as many serial killers with her as she can. A serial killer strikes the Virginia area, targeting women who seek fertility treatments. As Rachel enters his sick and twisted mind, she struggles to understand his motive or the connection between the victims. Worse, the case strikes too close to home, bringing up memories of her own fertility treatments and her failed mission to have a second child. As she seeks insight from a diabolical jailed serial killer, she immediately realizes it's a mistake. Can he see right through her? So obviously, trigger for fertility issues or infertility issues. So obviously, caution with that. Can Rachel keep her secret and keep her deteriorating health at bay long enough to finish the job? I guess that's the question we're going to find out the answer to, right? Okay, moving on. This is The Cove. This is book number 1 in the Devil's Cove trilogy, written by Malcolm Richards. I like it when it says trilogy in there, that way you know what you're getting as far as length. This one has 1,035 ratings with an average of 4.12. It says, the smallest towns have the darkest secrets. When Carrie's son, Cal, vanished from the Cornish town of Devil's Cove, she thought she'd lost him for good. 7 years later, a teenager has been found washed up on the beach. It's Carrie's son, and he's alive. No longer the sweet boy she remembers, Cal is deeply troubled, wildly unpredictable, and a growing danger to everyone around him. Now Carrie must unravel the mystery of what happened to her son before it is too late, because a serial killer is stalking the streets of Devil's Cove, and another young child is missing. So, again, trigger for missing, abducted children. So, next I have Her Deadly Homecoming. This was written by Tony Urban and Drew Strickland, so a dual author book. This is book number 1 in the Carolina McKay series. This has 841 ratings with an average of 4.34. 3 girls brutally murdered, eyelids surgically removed. Their killer never caught. 18 years later, a new victim is found. Carolina McKay thought she'd escaped her past, the murders that wrecked her youth, her family, but most of all, her hometown. After her promising career as a big city police detective is ended by a gunshot, Carolina heads home to Dupre, West Virginia, defeated and purposeless, until the murders start anew. Sheriff Lester Fenich, her mentor and surrogate father, feels old and outmatched. With less than a month until his retirement, he's desperate to solve the case which has tormented him, but he needs help. When the first killings rocked Dupre, Carolina was just a teenager. Now she's the best chance they have to catch a monster. So, that sounds good, especially where it talked about the eyelids being removed. Yes. Okay, next I have Game of Silence, written by Eran Ben Amy. 87 ratings with an average of 4.17. No synopsis on Goodreads. So, according to Amazon, it has 182 ratings with an average of 4 stars. It says, an Israeli F-16 is shot down by a dangerous new Russian missile array that threatens to tip the balance of power. As power struggles in the Middle East ignite nearly to the point of eruption, Navy SEAL Special Ops soldier Yanni Levine is thrust deep behind enemy lines on a complicated mission. His assignment, to steal the technology behind a brand new missile array from right under the enemy's nose. But the risky operation has its repercussions, and soon Yanai finds himself in the barren deserts of Saudi Arabia, this time joined by Mossad operative Yara on orders to infiltrate the tightly woven net of covert Iranian intelligence. And I'm sure I said those names wrong, so hopefully I'll find like an audiobook where they will pronounce those names, but I don't know. Okay, so next up I have The Dream Heist, written by Christina Farley. This has 33 ratings with an average of 4.18, and I'm back on Goodreads. This one does say that it is a young adult. It also has science fiction, so a thriller sci-fi. 18-year-old Aria Hale loves her job at her father's dream therapy company, where she enters dementia patients' dreams to save their memories. Oh, interesting. But when their lab is ransacked, 2 technicians are murdered and her father is kidnapped. Everything changes for her. Determined to find her father, Aria and her friend embark on a harrowing hunt across continents, using dreams of their enemies to guide them. But this dangerous journey plunges into a world she never bargained for: deception, intrigue, and even loss. As she races to save her father and hunt down her enemies, she soon realizes she's in fact the one being hunted, and her dreams are the greatest danger of all. That one sounds good. That one I am intrigued by. That one sounds the most interesting out of the ones so far. Okay. Next up, I have The Olympus Project, written by Ted Taylor. This is book number 1 in the Phoenix series. 435 ratings with an average of 3.87. It says, okay. Let's see. First book in a brand new series. Man rescued from a watery grave by strangers. He has been headhunted because of his particular skill set, that of a super efficient stone cold killer. The stories throughout the series will cover the activities of the secret organization which recruited the man they have named the Phoenix, as they send their agencies across the world, removing anyone who poses a threat to political or economic stability. In this thriller, we follow the Phoenix as he exacts revenge and rights wrongs in his intimidable style. He's always been a loner. Can he and his new colleagues work together as a team to prevent a terrorist cell from causing havoc in central London? I have no idea what that's about, what that's going to be about. So someone that is good at killing people, evidently. Okay, this next one is called DAD, like dad. DAD, The World's Biggest Con, written by Clark Vieweg. 14 ratings with an average of 4 stars. No synopsis on Goodreads. I do have it pulled up on Amazon here. Looks like there's 23 ratings on Amazon with an average of 4.4. I just realized I can hover over that and it breaks it down a little bit. Okay. This one says, a father shares a fantastic dream of free energy for the world with his son. The father dies soon after that. Years later, when the son is grown, he attempts to fulfill the vision. The dream becomes a nightmare when it becomes a race to see if he can make the dream a reality before being killed. Josh Logan devises a clever ruse to introduce his father's free energy device into the world. While he expected some pushback from the establishment, he had plans to assuage their resistance. The overwhelming opposition and fierce attempts on his life came as a surprise. Big Oil, OPEC, OPEC, and domestic and foreign governments tried to kill Josh, his team, and steal his machine. Several organized, armed, ruthless killers are after Josh, his helpers, and his father's machine. Is it possible for this scenario to become a reality? Can Josh realize his father's dream with killers from around the world decided to his demise? Okay. Not quite sure. Obviously, we don't know if he's the con or if other people are trying to... I don't know what's involved in that. I don't want to speculate. I just want to read it. Up next, I have Salt of the Earth, written by Kate Moschendarius. I don't know. 134 ratings with an average of 4.06. It's 2038, and Berkeley, California is drought-ravaged, dusty, and smog-filled. Jess Prentice, a chemistry student, starts her day in a jog through the hills, only to realize that she is being chased. Over the course of 3 days, she barely stops running, fleeing from one narrow escape to another. Jess learns that it is her own scientific discoveries that are at the crux of the massive power struggle involving water, salt, cutthroat catalytic contracts, worldwide famine, the governor of California, and a radicalized populist environmental group. Holy cow. With time ticking, Jess must discover which players are the good guys and whether 29-year-old Mateo Wu, the man who appears out of nowhere to help her, is someone she can trust with her life and heart. Okay. I don't know what to think. Anyway, moving on. This one does have the tags of horror, classic, and gothic. But again, this was under thriller on the emails that I get. This book is called Benighted, written by J.B. Priestley. 439 ratings with an average of 3.74. I've never heard of it, although not every classics I've ever heard of, but this is listed as a classic. And I do like classics, so we'll see what I think of this one. Philip and Marguerite Waverton and their friend Roger Penderell are driving through the mountains of Wales when a torrential downpour washes away the road and forces them to seek shelter for the night. They take refuge in an ancient crumbling mansion inhabited by the strange and sinister Femme family and their brutish servant Morgan. Determined to make the best of the circumstances, the benighted travelers drink, talk, and play games to pass the time while the storm rages outside. But as the night progresses and tensions rise, dangerous and unexpected secrets emerge. On the house's top floor are 2 locked doors. Behind one of them lies the mysterious unseen Sir Roderick Femme, and behind the other lurks an unspeakable terror. Which is more deadly, the apocalyptic storm outside the house or the unknown horrors that await within? And will any of them survive the night? Now that one actually sounds really good. That one's higher up on my intrigue list to try to get to sooner rather than later. So that's it. That was 27 books. Oh, and going back, there was another series The Olympus Project by Ted Taylor. That also were the 3 books. So The Olympus Project, which I said, Gold, Silver, and Bombs is book number 2, and Nothing is Ever Forever is book number 3. All 3 of those were for free, and they came as a package. So that's it. Let me know if you've read any of these or any other books by any of these authors listed. Definitely let me know. Talk to me in the comment section below, or let me know if something in this list kind of intrigued you to look at a new to you author or something like that. Just talk to me in the comment section below, and until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book, and I'll talk to you later.